And now, from Pensacola, Florida, it's Within Reason with Bob Kerrigan and Bill Rankin.
All right, we're back. We're back. Bob Kerrigan and Bill Rankin. This is Within Reason. We're here every week trying to treat everybody as fairly as we can and considering all sides express a fairly informed opinion.
Right. The people we don't like, we don't treat all that fairly, but a lot of people would get treated fairly.
A lot of people get treated fairly, and we like a lot of people. We respect a lot of people, but the people that we sometimes talk about here get offended.
You may not see any evidence of it on the show, but we are very respectful to certain people.
We are very respectful, and I resent the suggestion that we just cavalierly blast whoever happens to show up in the paper a couple of days before. Okay, that's not the case.
It's not?
Well, it's not always the case.
That's what the memo says.
I'm sorry.
That's our theme.
All right. Well, tonight
we start off with a quiz, and tonight I have a quiz.
Oh, okay, you have a quiz. Yeah. By the way, if you will stay tuned tonight, we have some really interesting things. We're going to talk about the health care decision. Mr. Rankin is a big fan of that, and we're going to discuss the Republican survey that's been sent that basically says, do you believe that you should be a loyal American, or are you going to vote for Obama? That's one of the Republican questions. Yeah, that's right. And then we have some other stuff here. The great gas grab. We're going to bring you up to date on that. Okay,
that's a very interesting. Well, there's just too much stuff. We probably won't get to all of it.
We'll try to
do it.
We'll try to.
Fair and balanced way.
Fair and balanced.
Unless we find it more amusing to do otherwise.
Yes.
All right, here's a quote.
Oh, can I tell you this before you start this? That both of the networks, the extreme on either side, Fox and CNN, got completely wrong the opinion of the health care. Did you see that? It's a great picture in the New York Times.
Oh,
they ran the headline. Yeah, no, exactly. Dewey defeats Truman. They ran the headline saying health care law ruled unconstitutional. And then they had to take it off the screen.
Really?
Those goofy people at Fox had already written all this stuff, and they wanted. But I was disappointed that the other goofy people of the other network.
They found out that Roberts was writing the opinion. I thought, well, that's it.
That's it. They've got it. As soon as he started talking, they thought, oh man, that's it. He's talking for the majority.
I have long been a big fan of reading these opinions. I don't think you have to be a lawyer to do it, but this is really dense and convoluted. You have to read it.
It's tough. The book
what's it? 133 pages.
187, I think, are the total number of pages. Yeah. Well, I think the total is 187 pages. I mean,
I wanted to read. I read most of it.
Well, the only one you need to read is Ginsburg. But go ahead with that.
I know about Ginsburg.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's
the only one that makes any sense, in my opinion. But the rest of these.
Did you read what the dissent said about
Ginsburg?
Oh,
I know. But they just don't like an intellectual up there. Did
you answer the question?
No, yes, I did. I did read it, but I didn't agree with it.
Okay. Well, you don't have to.
No. All right. What's the quiz?
The quiz is, I want you to identify the author of this quote.
All right.
All government, and we talked in the past about public sector unions and the problems governments, cities, and states are getting into because of public sector pensions.
Yeah, thanks to you, by the way.
And collective bargaining. And the unions, Scott Walker wanted to end collective bargaining in Wisconsin, and the unions really freaked out. I think that's an appropriate way to
But thanks to you, I just want to say that anytime I run into any of these public sector people, I get very unpleasant glares at me. And you're the one that really stirred all this up. I basically was in favor of the unions. Now I end up being the person that they dislike the most. I have no idea why. But please go ahead.
I'm sorry. There's no, there's no way.
I'm sorry. I'm interrupting you. Go ahead. Do you have it?
But unless people are unhappy about what we're saying, we're not saying anything.
Well, you made them all mad. I know you. No, they're fit to be tied because you question their legitimacy. You don't like unions and all. But the fact that I'm on this program with you, now they all think that they're all mad at me. All of them, every one of them. Okay. But
we are really in a unique position. It doesn't take any courage to do this because our clients don't watch this kind of television, for one thing, and I don't have any friends. And it's just so you get to say anything you want, and you know.
But you're responsible for what you say, so I mean you have to be careful. You can't just blast away. I mean, but anyway, what's the question?
Okay. Who authored this quote? All government employees should realize that the process of collective bargaining, as usually understood, cannot be translated into the public service. It has distinct and insurmountable limitations when applied to public personnel management. The very nature and purposes of government make it impossible for administrative officials to represent fully or to bind the employer in mutual discussions with government employee organizations. The employer is the whole people who speak by means of laws enacted by their representatives in Congress. Who said that?
Nancy Pelosi.
No, oh my, you'll be just as surprised.
Who?
FDR.
Oh.
FDR.
Yeah.
He goes on.
Okay.
Since their own services have to do with the functioning of government, a strike of public employees manifests nothing less than an intent on their part to prevent or obstruct the operations of government until their demands are satisfied. Such action, looking toward the paralysis of government by those who have sworn to support it, is unthinkable and intolerable.
Wasn't that in the face of a pending strike or a threatened strike?
I don't know. This was a letter he wrote to Luther C. Stewart, president of the National Federal Employees, and I don't have the rest of that. Okay. Now, the truth is, they've never had collective bargaining in the federal sphere.
Ah, oh, good.
You know, so when Obama was supporting the union zealots and wackos in Wisconsin, they didn't have it. They don't have it.
Now, be careful about that. When you say Obama, that's a dangerous thing about the right.
That's what he said.
Anything that appears to be a support of a liberal cause, but it's always laid off on Obama. He never went to Wisconsin. He refused to go.
Yes, but he made statements in support of the unions.
Well, you make statements in support of the union in a broader sense. If he'd have gone there, it might have swayed the election, but he didn't do it. I mean, I don't think he thought that I think his position was you can't recall a governor for this. You just can't do it.
You think that was his position?
I think so.
I think his position is whatever he thinks will get him the most votes.
Well, they're all like that. All the politicians are like that. So, you got anything else?
I got all kinds of things. You want to do the Republican quiz?
Oh, yeah. Okay, now this is... Mr. Rankin does not
Where did you get this? You're not a registered Republican.
I give money to the Republican Party, so they send me all this stuff. I'm on the list. I gave money to the Ronald Reagan Library. You want to know that?
Did you?
I did. I gave $500 to it.
How odd.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't odd. I just thought he actually could read a book. I mean, I couldn't give it to the George W. Bush Library because they may have a comic book and videos.
The George W. Bush Library
and maybe
is
porn,
all visual.
Porn
they don't have
movies or something. I was going to say,
it's just all TV
No
screens.
real books in that library for sure. But I gave it to Ronald Reagan Library because largely I felt sorry for him because of the S&L debacle and the buildup of the military and all the deficits and all the terrible stuff he did. And people at that time were talking very bad about him. Now, the Republicans now think he was their hero.
Obama is
loaded up deficits. You know, he doubled.
Yeah.
I got a great book for you, too. He doubled defense spending in his term of office. Doubled defense spending, amassed massive deficits, which led Dick Cheney to say, Reagan proved deficits don't matter.
That's right.
That is precisely how.
And some people say, I'm not sure it's right, but it's widely said that Reagan couldn't get elected as a Republican today. He's not far enough right.
I don't know if he's far enough right. I mean, I think in terms of spending, I mean, the real conservative, fiscal conservatives would run him out of town on a rail because he just...
Because back in those days, what was the deficit during the
excessive
Reagan
spender.
days?
Honestly, it was in the billions. Yeah, 50, 60 billions a year, and it got up to 130, I think, at the end. I mean, it wasn't anything like it's compared.
Was it anything like today with trillion-dollar deficits and the total federal debt just?
But Reagan started the idea that deficits don't matter and that you just
it was supply-side economics. I mean, a lot of it was.
That's exactly right.
George
I'm not
Bush
an economist.
Called it voodoo economics.
Did he?
But
George
yeah,
Bush?
I think Reagan was courageous. I like a lot about Reagan.
Yeah, listen. They say this was an interesting thing. I'm recommending you read this book, Rachel Maddow's.
I don't think I could read Rachel Maddow's.
It's good. It is awesome. She's done a lot of. She's very smart. I guess you know. She's very smart.
A lot of the liberals are very smart. That's another reason I don't like him. Obama's very smart. He's trying to ruin the country.
This book is so awesome. She just reveals these people. I mean, Cheney and Bush and Reagan. Oh, the stuff she does about Ronald Reagan. Do you know when he testified in a trial 1 year after he left office? He couldn't remember the names of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The guy
was ill.
I think that so-called early Alzheimer's because they sheltered him so much? Well, so he couldn't be held criminally responsible for the Iran-Contra. I mean, I think because they clearly, everything he did was illegal, okay? Oh, I can't remember anything. I don't know what I did. I don't know what I had for breakfast. I mean, that was basically their defense. But you didn't ask for that. I just offered that for whatever that might be worth for you to think about.
Well, the truth is, any exploration of politics, especially at the national level,
not good.
P.J. O'Rourke was right. A parliament of whores. I mean, it's just all for sale. They're all making tons of money on the government. The government is metastasizing. Everything they do is just full of pork and special handouts and giveaways. But
it is kind of amusing that we revere Ronald Reagan now, like he was a
there's a lot to like about Ronald Reagan.
He was an actor. That was it. He was an actor. And you know what they used to say?
He was a good actor.
Tip O'Neill said he doesn't read anything. I mean, he was totally uninformed. He wouldn't read briefing
I don't think
papers.
That's right.
He just wouldn't read. He was unprepared to be president of the United
Ronald
States.
Reagan, in kind of the period when he was out of office, he did radio talks that were widely heard. He wrote them himself.
I used to play them when I was 15 in a 250-watt radio station in Port St. Joe, Florida, and he was then saying that Social Security was a communist plot or scheme, and that was the thrust of his radio message. And we played him. I remember listening to him when I was
that one wasn't in the compilation I had. I didn't hear that one.
I've got the compilation. I send that to you, but I'm telling you, these old tapes, I played them. I remember playing them when I was young on this radio station. All right, now you didn't want to know that, but I told you that anyway. Okay, here's some survey questions. This is the 2012 Presidential Platform Survey.
Do you think they really have the slightest interest in your opinion, or do they just wait for you to get to the end where they give you a chance to donate?
Not mine.
No, but not anybody's.
Not anybody's, but the least would be mine.
They want your opinion.
I could send them.
When I get those surveys, I answer them honestly.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and a lot of times, honestly, I'm disagreeing with whoever's asking the survey, and then I mail them back. I don't give them any money.
Well, that's nice.
They say they want to have my opinion, so I give them my opinion.
All these surveys are coded, by the way. They can figure out who answers what.
No, they don't, because they keep sending them to me.
Okay. Well, here's the thing.
If that made sense, they wouldn't send me any.
Here's the thing. You check strongly favor, in favor impeachment. You get the right boxes checked, they'll call you and get some cash from you. I mean, they'll run you down. All right, here's some of the survey questions. Do you believe Barack Obama has used the presidency and powers of his office to look out for the concerns and interests of Americans like you?
No. That's clearly not true.
Okay.
You know, we're one of the 1% despoilers, the people who, because of their selfishness, are keeping this country from prosperity.
Well, you don't need
we're only giving the government about 40 or 50% of our income.
You just have to answer the survey. You don't have to give an explanation.
Is there a box for absolutely not, or just no?
Just answer it. We can't get through this survey if we got
He's looking out for him.
With everyone. Okay. President Obama has indicated that if reelected, he will fight to increase tax rates on individuals and families he considers to be wealthy. Do you support Obama's position?
No, I do not. Do you? Do you?
The question is like...
You're the one who got the survey. How are you going to answer it?
You know, are you tired of beating your wife? This question is ridiculous on it.
It's ridiculous. No, it just says he favors raising taxes on the wealthy.
No, he says...
It's clearly...
He says he considers to be wealthy. He has stated a figure of $250,000 net income upon which he won't tax people.
It's a very flexible figure, actually, with Obama.
Do you believe that...
But
can we go on with the survey?
No, this is your... I just want to know how you answer the question before we go on.
I told you how I'd answer that question.
Oh, you did?
I wouldn't answer it at all because the question is not objectively stated. The premise of the question is false. And it's like, have you quit beating your wife?
Let's restate the question.
Yes or no? What is?
Obama wants to raise taxes on the wealthy, right?
Yes.
There's no question about it.
On people above a certain income level.
Right. Do you favor that position?
Yes, I do. In order to handle the deficit. I think we have to do it.
All right, let me ask you another question.
I want to cut spending, too, though.
Do you believe that sending more money to Washington is going to lower the deficit?
That's a false dilemma. That's a false dilemma. Sending money to Washington sounds like
No,
somebody carrying
you
up
said
a,
you want
a
to pay
bag
more
of cash.
taxes to lower the deficit. So then the question becomes...
That's a policy question. I'm saying as a policy, we need to raise taxes in order to face the deficits that we have, and we need to cut spending. Okay, in my opinion, we need to do both.
Okay.
But if you're talking responsible people do want to do both.
What if you're just raising taxes uncoupled from having anything to do with the deficit?
Well, I disagree
it just
with that.
goes up there for more, you know, Nancy Pelosi projects and wasteful, every goofy green idea they're going to throw a few billion at it with your tax money.
A few goofy Republican ideas too, but no,
Loads of them.
But I favor cutting the spending too.
That's the problem.
All right, now, do you believe that the policies of Barack Obama have helped create good jobs and improve the economy in your area?
No.
Okay, good. Would you support a phased-in increase in the retirement eligibility age for Social Security benefits that would not affect anyone over the age of 50?
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Okay. Should
We're going to have to. Something's got to change.
Of course it does. Well, it's not as bad as Medicare, but yes, it does have to change.
Yeah, Medicare's.
Should retirees be exempt from property tax increases on their residence?
No.
Okay.
Good grief.
Would you support allowing individuals under the age of 50 to opt to put a portion of their Social Security withholdings into private accounts that they control but cannot access without penalty until their retirement?
Yes.
So you have a bunch of people who have no idea what they're doing. They depend on their local stockbroker to give them some tips, right?
No, just
Can
like
you imagine?
Everybody in a 401k. You have options, and they choose options.
This is supposed to be a safety net.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What you're saying is, like Secretary Chu, people are making bad decisions.
Well,
we have to take away their light bulb. They're making bad decisions.
Here's the
we
point.
can't let them make bad decisions.
No.
They're making bad decisions with their money, and they're eating too much. The government has to step in and straighten this out. That's what's going on, and you like it? Come on.
That's a mischaracterization of what I'm saying. I'm saying that if this is a safety net that we want to design for elderly people to have something when they reach their golden years.
Don't let them have the money. Hang on to it.
What I'm saying is that they can't be held responsible for that if they're engaged in the risks of the free market. Because, can you imagine all the people who would have invested in the stock market and face retirement, and then they hit the big whack in 2007, 8, and 9. I mean, you can lose your shirt in the stock market.
You can.
But I'm saying if they're not trained to do it, they're not skilled to invest. What is it? 90% of individual investors lose money in the stock market. It's a huge number.
Individual investors do a lot worse than the market overall, because what they tend to do is when it goes up, they get excited and they put money in, so they buy high. Then it's going down, they get panicky and they sell out. Which is just the opposite of what you're supposed to do.
What do you call it? Market timing, right? That's what they're trying to do.
The market timing is.
All right, I have more questions for you. We're going to take a break, and we only got 2 or 3 minutes, so let's have some more questions. All right, do you want our elected leaders to make stopping illegal immigration a top national priority?
Not the top.
Okay.
I don't know. I think we need a balanced immigration policy. I think George Bush I mean, they almost had it worked out.
They did.
Where they had some kind of, I don't want to call it amnesty, but they had some kind of a policy that will allow all these 11 or 12 million people to stay here on some legal basis. You're not going to throw them all out. No. That isn't going to happen.
I've gone back to this, okay? We had the DREAM Act that was rejected by the Republicans, okay? They have a better plan. Typical of the Republicans, they have no plan.
I haven't heard it yet.
They have no plan, right. So they asked Romney what his plan was, and we might have mentioned this last week, and he said, well, he would announce it after he was elected, but it'd be a good plan. That's your guy, okay? That's who you're getting. Don't tell me he's not your guy.
It's the best choice we got.
I understand, okay.
He's my guy in terms of I'll vote for him.
All right. Do you support immediate and total repeal of the Obamacare health care legislation? They could name it, the actual name of the act would have been nice. But anyway, so the Obamacare.
The patient patient protection and an affordable care act.
Yeah, it's good. In fact, it's an accurate name, actually.
No, it's just ridiculous.
But what is your answer to this? Are you
immediate repeal? Yes.
Yeah.
It's dreadful.
Well, you didn't have to add that. You just you want immediate. All right.
Immediately.
Have the government and news media, they got to put lump them together, provided information to ensure that citizens have a good understanding of the composition, impact, and cost of the Democrat-passed Obamacare health legislation? What's the answer to that? What do you say? Have they done a good job with that?
I think the information's out there.
Is it good?
I think that the problem with people's lack of understanding is they're too busy watching American Idol. And they're the product of the union-driven education system in this country.
What is that program where they have the people who lose the most weight get some kind of
America's Biggest Loser.
America's Biggest Loser.
Yeah.
So I think that would be the nickname for the Republican Party. But anyway, all right. Do you believe you can receive the same quality of health care and accessibility to quality care through a federal government-run health care system?
Yes. Of course you can. We're doing it.
Well,
the senators receive great health care. That's a federal system.
Pretty good.
I received good health care under the military.
That's a surprise answer because they want you to put no on that. You know, I mean, that's what they're looking for. All right. They've got some great questions here. I'm not going to ask you for any of these.
Do they even tabulate these answers? I wonder if they do. They probably don't.
This one appeals to the, to the right nuts. Okay. Do you support Roe v. Wade? Do you believe life begins at conception? Should federal funds be nonprofit organizations whose primary function is conducting abortions? I mean, all these. Can you?
Well,
I'll tell you what. That's
your
people, though.
Yeah.
Okay, they're appealing to the party loyal there, and then they want you to send a check. And by the way, this is in red here. Do not destroy this document.
Better not. It's got a barcode on there.
And it's got a barcode.
That
means
keep
it's
an eye
official.
on this.
Well,
don't leave it around here. These liberals will destroy it.
Well, that's how they know who you are. That barcode probably relates to who they sent it to, so you can track it. All right. Well, we'll be back with more insightful observations about current events and other items after the short message.